Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Gabe with Indigo Software, genuine Microsoft software for less. In today's video, we're going to show you guys how to master formatting inside of Microsoft Word. Whether you're creating essays, business documents, or resumes, knowing how to properly format your documents can serve you well. We're going to cover some of the basic formatting things such as text formatting, but we're also going to show you how to set your page margins. We're going to learn a little bit about page breaks, indentations, and more. Before we get started with this video, if you're interested in purchasing Microsoft Office, Windows 10, Windows 11, remote desktop licenses, or a wide variety of other Microsoft software at a great price, be sure to check out Indigo Software. We'll leave links down below. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, guys, so here we are inside of Microsoft Word. I put together an essay on why Sony makes the best cameras for video production. This is going to be a persuasive essay that we're going to use as our example document as we go through and do all the proper formatting. We're using Microsoft Office Home and Business 2021 for this video, but no matter what version of Office you're using or whether you're on PC and Mac, most of the tools will remain the same, so this video will still help. Okay, the first thing we're going to cover are the page margins. This can be accessed from the Layout tab in the top, and if I click this little arrow on margins, we have a few quick adjustments that we can make. You may or may not have specific requirements for margins based on your use case, but in most college applications, we're going to have 1-inch margins all around. So instead of the Office 2003 default, which we're currently on, let's try the 1-inch margins all the way around. And as we can see, that changed the margins of our page, and now we have the correct 1-inch margins. Now, it's also important to note from this Layout tab, we have several other options available to us, some of which will also be available from the Home tab. But for example, we can change our page orientation. If we wanted to do landscape for any reason, we can access that here. And we can also change our page size. Although in this case, we will stick to a standard sheet of paper size, which is 8.5 by 11 inches. We also have access to the columns settings from here. But for now, let's go back in the home page and continue shaping up our document. Another thing we might want to consider pretty early on in our document is the line spacing. Line spacing can be easily changed in Microsoft Word from the paragraph group. So in here, we have this little drop down here with the arrows that point down and up, and this is going to give us our line spacing. We currently have 1.15. Now, in a lot of cases, to properly format a college essay, we would either want single or double space lines, not necessarily 1.15. So I'm going to select all this. I could also use Control and A or Command A if you are on Mac, and we can access our line spacing again from here. Let's go ahead and switch it to double spaced. Okay, so my lines are now double spaced. We're going to work on this title section here in a moment, but let's continue to focus on the text first. I'm going to Control A again. You may or may not have a specific font that should be used. For this, we're going to go with Times New Roman, and we're going to set the font size to 12. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here just so I can have a bit of a better look at my document. And the first thing I might want to do, even before I get to the title, is my identification header. Let's go ahead and type that out. I'm going to put my name and I'll hit enter. In a lot of cases here, you might put your professor's name if you're writing a college essay. I'm going to go ahead and put Indigo Software. Let's enter another line. Here we might put the course that we're studying. So I'll put video production. And then lastly, I will put today's date. Okay. And then from here, I'm going to do 2 lines. Okay. And then I'll hit enter on my title to create a new line. And again, we're going with the requirements for a college essay here. We're going to show you the tools so you could kind of make this however you need to. But based on my requirements, I need this to be in the middle. So the title only should be middle aligned. Now, another thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is that this text should all be black. So I can just Control A to select everything again. And if we go to this little A here and click that arrow, we can select black to make everything black. We may or may not be required to add page numbers. Luckily, this is very easy. We can just go back to the Insert tab here, so one over from Home. And if we scroll down towards the middle, we can see page number. And it's also going to give us several options such as top, bottom, page margins, or current position. We're going to go with top of page, and I'm going to select plain number 3, which will give it to us at the very top right. And this is what I want in this case. Now let me scroll down and we see 2 and we see 3. So that looks good. We can now go ahead and close the header and footer. So now this is non-editable and we'll just be working on our document, but the page number will remain. A few other things about text that we have control over. We have bold, italic, or underline. So these are all available right here. And I can also use keyboard shortcuts to adjust that. So for example, if I select my title and do Control and B, that's bold, hit it again to unbold, and then I is for italic, and then U is for underline. And so per my requirements, I won't be making those formatting adjustments to my title text. I just want it to be centered, but just knowing that you can access those here or from your keyboard shortcuts at any time is very useful. Also take note that if you're on Mac, any of our control commands will actually be the command key for you. Now, another thing that we're noticing here is that I have this line and this is a design setting. In my case, I don't want this. This is not correct with my formatting requirements. So to remove this or to add it, we're going to access those things from the design tab here in Word. So as you can see, we've got various themes with designs that would give us various different fonts and headings and subheadings. And actually what I'm interested in doing here, so I'm going to drop this down and I want to reset this to the default style set. So for this document, that's what we want. And now we can see it is returned to the default. Now, let me go ahead and select this text here and let's go back to the home tab. Now, if you notice when we made that adjustment, it changed our text that was previously in the title and it looks like the letters are too close to each other now, which is not what we want. I'm going to right click on the selection here and let's click font. And then we have this advanced tab here and this is where we can control the spacing. Let me try to set as default and we'll use this document only. Now we can see that the letters are consistent throughout the document, which is what we want. Now that we've written the title section, I'm going to press backspace or delete from my first bit of text that's in the actual body of the paragraph. So there should only be one line between these, which is good. Now, one thing we might notice that while we do have our paragraphs broken, they don't have any indentations. And this can make it a little bit tricky to read as somebody who's looking at this document. It kind of looks like it's maybe a little jumbled together. And indentations may or may not be required as a part of your college essay as well. Luckily, there's a few easy ways to do this. One is I can basically put the cursor right before the first word in the sentence, the very start of the paragraph, and I can hit tab. It's going to indent only the first line, which is what we want. And I could go to each paragraph and do this, or I could hit tab as I start to type a new paragraph. But there's also a way to control each paragraph at the same time. So if I select only the body text, let's go all the way down to the bottom of the document here. Okay, and then with this selected, we're going to go to our home tab here, and we want to click this little arrow by the paragraph. So this gives us paragraph settings. Okay, so in here, we're going to find settings for indentation, and we can actually specify a criteria. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to leave the settings as default and I'm going to click this down to first line. By not adjusting these, we're going to have a standard indentation starting at the first line of each paragraph. Let's press OK. And as we can see, that adjustment has been made not just to the first paragraph, but to all of the paragraphs. And if we want to adjust that again, we can select this paragraph or select multiple and go back into our settings and we could make further adjustments from here. A few more things to talk about in terms of paragraphs. We can adjust things like our alignment. So I can adjust everything if I wanted to the middle or to the right side of the document. In this case, we're going to keep it on the left. And I could also add bullet points or numbers. So if I click this little button here, so it'd create bullets. Notice how I can quickly undo that with Control or Command Z. So that's the undo command. And I could also add numbers here. Since this is indented, it's why it's giving us the letters. So for example, if I start on this line and hit a number, it's going to give us 1. And then by entering into a new line, it would give us 2. And so that's how you can quickly add and remove numbers. If we hit the button again, it would remove it. Let's go ahead and select our paragraphs again. And we're going to explore a few options in the layout tab. So let's click over to layout here. And we have an option called spacing. This option will allow us to adjust how much space there is between breaks in our text. So this is 30 points, 24, etc. We're going to leave this at 0, but it's good to know that you can adjust that, or we could also adjust it for the after. So the point of formatting your paragraphs in a specific way is to help break up the text, which makes reading easier. All right, guys, next up, we're going to talk about section breaks and page breaks. So let's say, for example, on page 2, I want to conclude my document. This is my conclusion paragraph, and then I want to have references on the next page. So I can do this at the Insert tab. We're going to have access to different breaks here. So the page break would, for example, end the current page here and start the next page. So if I hit that, you can see my references has moved onto page 3. Now that is the only thing on page 3. Now, if we wanted to make a change to our, let's say, headers without affecting the rest of the document, we could instead do what's called a section break. So with my cursor here between this and the references, I might want to insert a section break. We're going to be able to do this from the layout tab instead. So let's go there, and under breaks, we can hit continuous, which is basically a section break and start a new section on the same page. So now the formatting applied here is not going to affect the previous parts of the document, if that makes sense. Now, if we want to make further adjustments to our page breaks or maybe delete or add another section break, we can actually access something called the hidden formatting tool. And if we want to access that, let's go to our home tab. We're looking for this little button here. So now this is going to show us where the breaks are happening. And it's also even going to tell us what kind of break it is. So we can see our section break continuous here. And basically I can delete this. Now, if I wanted to remove this section break, I'm going to go to the very beginning of the dotted line and I'll just hit the delete key. It's going to remove the section break for us. Now, let's say I want to delete this section break and maybe I want to add back in a page break. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want my references to be on the next page and I want there to be a section break so that I can make formatting or layout adjustments only to my references page for whatever reason. Let's go back to the layout tab. And if I do breaks, I can do next page under section breaks. So that's going to put us on the next page and it's going to include a section break. Okay, so now with my cursor on this page, I can change my layout and it's only going to affect this page. So hopefully this is giving you an idea of how you can use section breaks to break up the formatting of your document. So for example, we want this to be horizontal. We want this to remain in a portrait landscape. And if I go back to home, I can easily get out of my hidden formatting mode and continue working on the document. Now let's focus a little bit more on the design tab. So notice that we have this references here. This is acting as a drop down with a title. Going back to the home page here, I have a little section called styles. This is going to let me pick some available sort of template styles that I could use. And then of course I can select this text. And if I wanted to, I could bold or italicize that. That might be how you want to go about changing or adjusting your headings. So again, maybe you want to select all of your headings that you might have and put them in a certain style. So you can do that easily with the styles group here. All right, guys. So in conclusion, if we want to preserve all of the formatting for further editing or further use, the best way to do that is going to be to save it in a specific file format, which is a Word document. So if I go to File here and Save As, let's click this PC and I'll double click that. If we save this as a Word document, it's going to save all of our formatting edits. We'll be able to further adjust those in the future. And if you want to deliver this as a non-editable document, we could do something like a PDF. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have any questions about anything that we went over, feel free to drop those in the comments below and we'll get back with you as soon as we can. Again, if you're interested in purchasing genuine Microsoft software at a great price, be sure to check out Indigo Software. We'll have all the links down below. As our channel grows, we're constantly looking for new video topic ideas to make. If there's a video you would like to see, we strongly encourage you to let us know in the comments below. Most viewer commented requests get made into actual videos on the channel. And lastly, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated as it helps to support our channel. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.